back in the continuation of the marker dog, you know. Uh, this is not a painting that is intended for showing to the people. This painting is intended for studies. As you will see here, there are no details here. Otherwise, there's a grass here. These feet are not shown. But I would suppose to finish these feet, but for the purpose of the study, the feet are not necessary to be done. Also, yes, in the eyes there, you know, at a certain bit, I suppose to work the eyes, maybe increase somewhere or equalize them in the levels, in the levels, you know, levels, heavens, yeah. I suppose to be at a higher level, working them because of this dark, you know. You see this dark tone, this one is the one that makes this eye seems like, you know, because this eye is supposed to go here, and this lower eye is supposed to go here. That is another error I see, but it's supposed to be fixed. But it's nice because it's not that bad, you know. It's not easy to notice it. So for these errors, I'm not gonna fix them because my purpose was not about to fix them. My purpose was to learn the shadows, the family of the shadows. Because as we look at this part, we are finding this one, it's a shade. This one, it's a light. But you can't make this part a pure white, this part. Because white in reality has the reflection of the sky and the nearby objects. You know? Yeah, and the nearby objects. So it's supposed there are some reflections that reflect it. That's why you see these colors, these ones, you see? These colors. These are the reflection of the color which was in the ground, you know? Yeah. And also I found that since there are reflections, white cannot be pure. So when you first create the artwork, you divide it into 2D, light and a shade. This one would be pure black, this one would be pure or maybe pure light gray, you know. Yeah, but in tonality they have to be different. But now the secret is the shade got other pieces of reflected light within itself that are reflected. There are many others, maybe might be the reflection of this here, this one. So it will be a white like this one that reflects this thing, or a white like this one here somewhere, because it reflects the light that is bouncing from here to this point, from this plane to this plane, in the shadow family. Here it's a light family. In this light family, some of the light was supposed to be a bit reflected here. That's why you see this tone here and this dark here. So otherwise I haven't worked as much these shades to feel or fully reflect the colors in the shadows like this one. Why? Because the ultimate goal was not to feel it as a whole, but to check the principle when it is in application, that okay, the light color does not only have yellow, it has other cool colors with it. So it has its darker color that is light and its higher light color. Same as the shades. The shades, they got their own, like here, darkest color, which will be like this one, this tone and this tone. These are two tones side by side. They are different, but both of them are in the shadow family. So this is what we must learn. In the shadows, there are colors that are there in the shadow. The shadow can't be purely like this, you know, purely like this. Also somewhere here in these points, you see this shadow is so hard, it got hard edges. It's supposed to be soft. Also somewhere here got hard edges, but I am aware of these things. That's why I'm not going to fix them, because this was not my main purpose, you know. My main purpose was to see, or was to apply what I have learned, that what is in the shadow family and what is in the light family. Now when I apply the thing, my drawings, they improve into this point. So for my improvement, this is a ground level now. I will have to work from this style and upgrade it further. Also, another secret I would like to keep, artists as professionally, like ukwenza portraits and all that stuff, they don't bother themselves like us. Sibe sifuna umejarisha from top to bottom and this and try to level the eyes. No. What they do, but print a photo that will be the same size of what they want. And just outline the main figure in that photo so that it can be printed in the background of the artwork. So the man who was talking about this thing, he said, why should he waste a lot of time trying to figure out the perfect lines while he still got a lot of work to do in the color session? So now it reminds me of the grids and all that other techniques which you are using in order to transfer the drawing to the canvas board. So as I am telling you today, I am revealing this thing to you who find this thing, that if you have been drawing and or you've been painting, your paintings does not look completely more realistic, you have two problems. It's line drawing and colors. So you can trace lines. So for now, since your problem mainly is colors, you're supposed to have a machine which can bring out these huge papers where you can print them out and just put some dust at the back of the paper or charcoal and stick it on a canvas and start to trace the lines of the subject matter. This is how most of the artists, they capture or do a realism, because by doing that you capture the exact structure, and what you are creating, it depends totally on the outlines and the structure of what you are making. Once the outlines and the structure, then shades are needed. Once you put the shades in order while the structure and the outlines are done, they said others a form, they say others instead of structure, form. Once that thing is done, brother, it's easy to put it this thing. You know you are dealing with colors. And also, since there are so many ways of creating or of creating artwork, other brothers, they prefer to mix it on the board. But I have learned that it is wise to premix your colors before you go in the canvas to paint. Because for me, I mix a color every time when it is time for me to take it down and put it here. If I want to do this color, for example, I'll have to mix it and I'll put it until it and there's no color left in my color palette, because I'll mix the amount of this color that I need here. And then when I need this one, I will go and mix another color, this one. And then maybe somewhere around here, I need a bit of this one. I will have to remix it again. Also, when I have to work here and here, I will have to remix this color again. You see? So this is not good, because especially for beginners like me, because it challenges me now to capture the same exact color and tonality and value that was there. But the easiest way, if one can create this color, for example, this pink here, this pink must be plenty enough to cover the whole places which you want. So also this pink must not be quickly to dry in your palette, so that you can have enough time to jot it down. So I understand now why they say oil painting is worked in layers, because whatever color you mix, you have to mix it and put it side by side with all other colors so that they can work together for that level which you were, or for that stage you are at, and then leave it to dry and then come back again and add other colors. So whatever color that you are mixing, it has to be enough for the whole session of the day. This is the secret that I've learned. But now I'm using acrylics. This is acrylics. You see, these are acrylics. So now I've been trying to manipulate the acrylics to look like oil. You see, but in this technique that I have found, it might work very well, but the one that I found easier to make acrylic look like oil is when we are using it in a water what is this thing, watercolor, in a watercolor style. Yeah, you have to use it in a watercolor style. So this is what I have found, and now I am trying to learn painting in different stages, and I will try to approach it at a different using different techniques. But so far for me, these colors that you are seeing here, I never knew that the shadows, they do possess some of the colors. This is what I wanted to see when I jotted these colors in the shade, how they will influence the totality of this artwork. So I can see now the artwork is coming very nice when it is like this. I never thought I could paint in this way, especially with acrylics. Now when it comes in this way, I wonder how much more in painting in oil, because in oils I will have all enough time to blend all other stuff. But the secret with acrylics now is that, let's say for example, you see that I put this color here. Let's say there was a color maybe that crosses halfway from this eye to this point, for example. Let's say there was a color that goes like this here. You see? So in acrylics, since this thing has been like, you have to paint over that stroke. So it's more like, I don't know, you are putting layers in layers and in layers. And another problem that I've realized, the acrylic got a tendency of being too much transparent. Maybe it's me, I lack the information about transparency. Transparency in colors is very, 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 very important, brothers, because the transparency is the one that gives you the illusion, of 3D. Now, sometimes you see this blue. Sometimes I will come with this blue from the tube, putting this blue here, because this blue is against other white colors. Now hey, this blue will be so light, brother, that like will be so transparent. Even if I take the blue from the tube on its own and put it here, won't show easier. I will have to put it in layers. And I don't know why this thing, because now I think this is my main problem in studying painting in acrylics. This is my difficulty. Acrylics need patience, especially if you want to achieve the same results like oil painting. You have to be patient, my brother. You have to also know the properties of this medium that you are using. Now, me, what I wanted to learn in acrylics were the basics of color, knowing how to paint in acrylics and knowing before I can move in oils. Because I found that if I learn how to paint with acrylics, it will be very easy for me to learn how to paint with oils. But most of people, they said it's hard to work in acrylics because acrylics, they dry quicker, and I said it's true, because me also, I'm struggling with that thing. I have to be quick with what is in the palette before it dries, even if I mix it plenty. After a certain period of hours, while I still have to make certain decisions at certain points, it dries the thing. This is my problem, and this problem is weighing me down, because now I feel like, hey, the artwork quality on its own, it's more like now it's challenging. That's what I can say. It's challenging because it does not do what I want it to do. In oils, one stroke in oils covers the surface, and until you don't see the surface beneath, the opacity of the oil paint. The acrylics, these ones, I'm using student paint, acrylics, by the way. So these acrylics, when you mix them, they are transparent on the surface that you are mixing them. And once you put them here, brother, you will see this thing. You have to paint them 3 times, 4 times to 6 times in order for you to achieve something more like this. More like this. This is the problem with the acrylics. And it needs umuntu patience. And for someone who is still a student, I think acrylics is not best meant to learn. But acrylics is best for those who want to do it abstract, because the strokes, it quickly shows them and dry, so you can quickly work from start to finish with acrylic in abstract form. But now when you want to work in these soft edges and soft lines and all that, you have to be more advanced in oil, so that and be more advanced in knowing how the medium works. So these are the challenges, and as was me, I am using water to tint down the acrylic. Sometimes I even get confused, which stage am I supposed not to mix the acrylic or what? But now the mixing of the acrylic, sometimes other acrylics, you find them, they are already transparent, like the blues. The blues, they are so transparent that I'm using. The moment I put water, they become more transparent. You know? So, hey, it's another challenge, brother. The paint does not do what you want it to do. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And I know that I can fix this thing through working in oils. Because if I can work in oils, oil painting, if you put a thick line here, that line will stick and be solid and be vibrant the way you want it. This is the problem with acrylic. Acrylics need someone who understands what we call watercolors. If you know watercolors, those paintings, not acrylics, watercolors, no, the watercolors, the original paintings which are watercolors. If you can know, master, and understand the watercolors, you will master this medium acrylic very easy. Unfortunately, me, I never do watercolors. So, but also I'll keep pushing, I'll keep learning. So this is what I found and I have learned. But so nice, the tones here. My artwork is no longer now in a, even though it's so hard here, because you can see the edges, sometimes it's hard in these spaces. So you feel like this was a sculpt or something. Yeah, so will be my challenge in the near future to come, to make everything soft. I think the problem is it's in how I blend the shades. You see the sharp lines. I think the problem is there, but through later we'll fix it later, that thing. But for now, the concept that tells me that there are other shadow families and there is a light family. When I apply that thing in this artwork, I can see now it's in 3D. Also, you can see the shaded side of the dog. You can see. So it's nice. I have achieved what I wanted to achieve so far towards this painting, regardless of all other errors, because they were not the main focus. Give thanks.